Hello everyone and welcome back to Flo's Corner. So in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make chocolate covered pretzels and also how to make caramel chocolate covered pretzels. So please stay tuned. So here are all the ingredients and the utensils that we are going to need. You're going to need pretzels, some type of soft caramel, whether homemade or store-bought. You're going to need some chocolate or candy melts, parchment paper, and a silicone mat. And toppings like standing sugar or sprinkles are all optional. So first you want to start with your pretzels first. Here I decided to use pretzel rods instead of the other types of pretzels like the thin ones or the spiral shape that we all know and love. So I took out all of the ones that were whole. There were a couple in the bag that were broken, so you can also use those as well, but here I'm just looking for a uniform look. So I'm going to use a shortcut, which is using the Werther Original Soft Caramels. I saw the salted caramel cream one in my store as well, and I decided to pick one up, but I will show you how this one is an actual fail and was unusable. So please continue to watch and it'll show you in a few minutes. So whatever caramel you choose to use, you need to make sure that it is a soft caramel because it needs to wrap around the pretzel. If you do have a caramel that is kind of on the tough and harder side, what I like to do is to have a pot of boiling water and just have the caramel above the pot and just kind of rubbing it in your hands until it softens. I don't recommend softening your caramel in the microwave because it only takes a few seconds for the caramel to burn and you don't want to risk it. So here I took 2 of the soft caramels and then I mixed them together, and then now I am just squeezing them in between my hands, kind of like rubbing it to kind of make it longer and thin it out just a bit because we are going to wrap this around the pretzel. Make sure not to rub it too thin because you don't want the caramel to break when we are wrapping it around. So first what you're going to do is you're going to place the top end at the top of the pretzel, and then you're going to wrap around in a swirl motion. It should be wrapping around the pretzel in a downward motion, kind of looking like a spring, and you just wrap around until there's no more left to wrap. You normally don't want to wrap the caramel all the way to the bottom of the pretzel because you need to hold on to it to dip it in the chocolate. So about halfway or a little bit further is fine. So here is the fail that I was talking about with the salted caramel. Honestly, I did not even read the packaging because it said salted caramel cream, which means that it was filled with some type of liquid in the middle. So when I was trying to rub it in between my fingers, I noticed that it was coming out of my hand. So this was a bust, but it doesn't matter because it tasted super good. And I still enjoyed the pack, so why not? So I just continued with the soft caramel pack, and then I used 8 of them in total to wrap 4 different pretzels. So now let's get started with our chocolate. So here I'm going to be using some candy melts. This was about half a bag that I had left from the last time that I used my chocolate. And then I'm going to be using some vegetable oil. I want to say maybe about 1 to 2 teaspoons as my thinning agent for the candy melts. Then I'm going to pop it into the microwave for 30 seconds. And then I'm going to take it out and then start mixing the candy melts together. Really want to get in there and just kind of rub it around itself so that the ones that are starting to melt kind of gets on the ones that didn't melt fully, so it can help it out a little bit. So obviously this is not thin enough, so I'm going to pop it back into my microwave for about another 30 seconds. Depending on your microwave, it may not melt in particular the time that I might say. Like mine's only took about 1 minute for all of the chocolate to melt, so please make sure of that. If you want to start and do 30 seconds first and then after that do 15-second intervals, you can do that as well, but do not put it on 1 minute because you may burn your chocolate. But definitely get in there and make sure to stir as much as possible to make sure that there are no more chocolate chunks or any candy melts that did not melt, because we don't want a grainy and bumpy pretzel when we are dipping. One tip that I have is if your candy melts are too thin, then you want to add more candy melts, and if your candy melts is not thin enough, then you add more of your oil, or you can use shortening as well, or Paramount crystals. Now it is dipping time. I recommend that you place your candy melts or melt them in some type of cup that is tall so that you can dip the whole pretzel rod into the cup. All you do is tilt the cup a little bit and just twirl the pretzel around until it has the coverage that you desire. Shake off the excess into the cup, and then you're going to place it on your silicone mat, or you can place it on parchment paper. What I like to do is remove the pretzel from that one spot and move it to the next side of the parchment paper. That is just to get that little spreaded out chocolate that normally happens when you place it on the mat. And now you're just going to do the same for the remainder. You're going to place it in the cup and swirl it around until you have enough coverage, and then you're going to place it on your parchment paper or your mat. Now adding decorations is truly optional, so here I decided to add some sanding sugar onto the chocolate while the chocolate was still warm and still liquidy, because once it dries it's kind of hard to get the toppings to sit on top. The decorations are endless. You can add pretty much anything and whatever you want to make your chocolate pretzels very festive and very nice looking. So here I just did the same with the remainder of the chocolates. I decided to just dip them all in my white chocolate. Here I'm just adding some of my white sanding sugar just to get them to sparkle just a bit. Don't forget, you can also add color to your chocolate or just use colored candy melts as well if you wanted different colors. You don't have to use white. Here I just added some of the candy melts to my drizzle bottle, and I'm just going to drizzle some nice little lines on the pretzel. You can also add candy melts to your Ziploc bags, and then you just cut the side at just a small hole on the side so that you can do a drizzle as well. The design is all up to you. You don't have to do it this way. If you want it to look another way, you can drizzle it sideways, diagonal, horizontal, whichever way you feel. And in any way, if your candy melts decided to harden up just a little bit or got too thick, all you do is pop it back into your microwave for another 15 seconds or forever long for it to be thinned out once again. Once all of your pretzels are dipped in chocolate, you can just let it dry at room temperature, or you can place it into the refrigerator for about 5 minutes so that it can harden up. But other than that, room temperature does well. And here they are all done. I just added just a little bit more sprinkles on there. I had this like blue white winter themed sprinkles that I had in my cabinet that I decided to sprinkle on the chocolate covered pretzels, which give it a pop of color. I also added some chocolate into my little small flower molds so that they can harden up to give me the little flowers, and then all I did was spray it with some blue airbrush edible spray. And that was it. Honestly, you can add so many things to your chocolate covered pretzels. If you want to keep them just by themselves, that's fine as well. The possibilities are endless. The taste of the saltiness from the pretzel with the sweetness from the chocolate is just absolutely delish. And here is what the caramel chocolate covered pretzels came out like. These are super good because you get that hint of caramel in it. I am a sucker of caramel chocolate. Anything together, I mean, they make the best combo. And the saltiness of the pretzel, I'm telling y'all, if y'all have never tried caramel chocolate covered pretzels, you need to, because it is a bomb. So I always get asked on how to clean the chocolate or candy melts off of your utensils, and what I like to do is have a sink full of hot water and place them in there to soak, to soften the chocolate, and then you just wash it with soap. It normally comes off very easily. But I thank you all for tuning in. I hope this tutorial was helpful. See you in my next one. Bye.